Hi, everyone. I'm Tessa Brock with Tessa Brock Consulting, and I just wanted to reach out to you. My hope is that you are surrounded by a network and community that you feel very connected to. If not, part of what I'm really hoping is that some of these video messages may be a way for you to feel connected to people who are like thinkers to you, that you will know that you are part of a community of people who are striving to move through this experience in a intentional way while also trying to make sure that we're holding on to those trauma-informed strategies and approaches that have really helped us figure out how to be of service. So there was a couple of things that I just wanted to share with you that as I moved through this last week, that lessons I've learned, things that have popped up in my head that I thought would just might be helpful if I shared with you as well. The first one is I shared with you last week that I was having a hard time really kind of balancing all of the demands that were showing up. And I don't know how many of you can relate to that, but I know that there are some people who they have lost their job or their significant others have lost their job. There's people who are still working, they're essential workers, and so they're having to go outside of the home and how scary that may feel. When they're doing that, they're also needing to have some sort of a childcare, and that can be scary as well. Um, I think that we've got people who are already being touched by the virus. So there's so many unknowns that are out there, and when we have all of those things, one of the things that stands out in my mind is how when our brain is taxed, we are not able to be logical thinkers. We don't have access to logical thought the way that we normally would. I have talked to quite a few people this week that have talked about how one person shared with me, they said, Tessa, my boss has never been a micromanager, and holy cow, are they micromanaging me right now? I had someone else share with me that they had done all kinds of support and work and done all this work on a project that needed to be up and running very, very quickly once we got that stay-at-home order. And when the person said something in front of the large group, they never once mentioned all of the work this person had done to basically do all of that work for them. And then that person stood up in front of the group and took the glory. And the person shared with me, they said they've never been that kind of a person before. The last one was that someone was sharing with me that they said, you know, I thought that person was more grounded, but they're really stuck in negativity and they're just sitting in their own anxiety. And, you know, they're just really negative right now. And all of those stories really speak to me about what we know about brain states and what we know about trauma, right? So when I think about that, we've talked about different brain states, and if we're in fight, flight, or freeze, we don't have access to logical thought. If we're emotionally flooded, we don't have the same access to logical thought. And along those same lines, that when we don't feel like we have control over circumstances, we're going to control whatever we feel like we can control. And so when I think about people who are not behaving the way that they normally behave, it's because really none of us have ever done this before. None of us know how to do this well. We're doing the best we can. And really depending on our life experiences, depending on the meaning that we are making as we move through this, and depending on our own trauma histories, that's going to dictate what our automatic default is as we move through this. And so as I share that, part of what I think is really, really important is that we make sure that we're not accidentally criticizing or judging people who, for however they're showing up in this moment. Now, my guess is most of us are moving through this spectrum of experiences. I know for me, I feel like I'm trying really hard to be pretty grounded. I'm trying pretty hard to limit my media exposure and to do the self-care strategies so that I can be a calm in someone's storm. I want to be of service. But I'll be honest, yesterday was a really rough day. I have people that I'm very concerned. They're essential workers. They're going outside of the home. They're older. They've got medical conditions. So yesterday, that really hit me. I had a lot of concern. I had a lot of anxiety. I had a lot of fear, and I couldn't figure out how to keep it at bay. So a lot of the day was really tough for me. And then at one point, what I was able to do is kind of take a deep breath. But it was interesting that as I moved through all of those moments, there were people who tried to support me. And some of the support was, oh, Tess, it's going to be okay. Don't think that negatively, right? And that wasn't helpful. As much as I knew their heart was trying to be helpful for me, it wasn't helpful and it wasn't calming. What I needed was for someone to say, you're right, Tessa. This is really scary. This is really tough. This is overwhelming. And just to sit in the muck with it, to stay with me, bear witness to it, and just sit there with me, right? Nobody can fix it. Nobody can make it better. The reality is it's scary. It's overwhelming, right? And by doing that, I did have some people that were able to do that for me. I didn't stay there. I moved out of it. This morning I woke up and I was much more regulated. And I felt like it really reminded me of how we're all going to move through this ebb and flow of this unknown where we're going to dip our toes in fear. We may hang out in fear for a little while. And then we're going to be able to jump back out, hopefully, and move into this place of maybe more faith, maybe more trust, maybe more resilience. But the idea is that we all have, based on who we are, these invisible backpacks of our experiences. And not everybody's going to know what everybody else's experiences are. And what I think is so critical is that we've got to make sure that when someone else is showing up in a place that's less than optimistic and resilience and super, I don't know, productive, that we're not accidentally criticizing or judging those people, because we're all going to be in different places at different times for different reasons. And a lot of that's going to be invisible, and we're not going to know why or what's going on for that person. I just think that's helpful. The other thing that I have really been working very hard on is this idea of making sure that I'm trying to find ways to infuse joy into my day. And I'm doing that for different reasons. One is I learned early on, and when I do my self-care workshop, I talk about how humor is one of my favorite strategies. And so I try to find all kinds of different stupid ways to make myself giggle and laugh because it's one of my huge coping strategies. I also think that, as I shared with you, I also have a little one, my care at this time. And so as we're moving through this scary time together, one of the things that I notice is she's watching me to see what meaning she needs to be making of this. So the fact that she's not going to get to go back to school, is that scary? Is that bad? Is that okay? And she's watching me to determine what meaning she's going to make. I take that very seriously. And so in order for me to be the adult that is regulated and is able to access joy, I have to take good care of myself. I've got to make sure that I am using those self-care strategies to self-regulate so that I can model for her that we're going to move through this together. We know that little people look up at us and they're trying to decide, am I okay? Are we safe? Am I going to be good? I think it's important that we take that on, not in a fake way to where we pretend, but that we do the best we can to make sure that we're authentically taking good care of ourselves so that we can create an experience for our kids that is really supporting them in feeling regulated and safe and helping to help determine what meaning they are going to make through this experience. Lastly, I just wanted to share this idea of last year at Christmas, I had a gift that was given to me, and it's a really soft blanket that says, "Beautiful girl, you can do hard things." That's my favorite blanket. I love that blanket. There are times when my house is pretty cold in the morning, and so I take that blanket and I wrap myself up in it. I was laughing with a friend. I was like, I take that blanket everywhere. I was like, oh wait, I can't even leave my house. So it's like everywhere within my house. But the idea is that I love that blanket. I love the blanket because it's soft and cozy, and I love that blanket because of the message. And truly, that is what I have been holding on to with both hands and all of my being is, beautiful girl, you can do hard things. And if I can end this message with that, just to remind you that we've all been through tough stuff, unfortunately. I wish that wasn't true, but unfortunately it probably is. We've never been through this before, but all of us have moved through really tough stuff. And we've come out on the other side. And if we can continue to try to seek ways to be stronger on the other side when we're on the other side of this, which doesn't mean we can't have tough moments, which doesn't mean that we don't need to curl up in a ball and cry for a little while. But if we can work hard to really think about, who do I want to be through this? How can I move through this to the best of my ability? How do I support those around me to support them in having a positive meaning that they are making out of this experience? And making sure that I am not criticizing or judging myself or others for how they are moving through this moment. I think that we'll be better off. I think that will be hopeful. Those are my goals right now. And so I just want to close with reminding you that I value you, I respect you, that you are part of this community. And beautiful one, we can do this hard thing together. And we've got this. We'll move through it together. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I do believe we can do it. So I want you to know I'm holding you in my heart. I appreciate you. I value you. And I look forward to connecting with you soon.